Check 1, 2. How are we on audio?
Mm-hmm.
George, are we good on audio?
Stand by.
All right.
Please hold your calls.
I feel like someone's got
Somebody's got to do a microphone. I am. The technology.
How about now? Can you hear me now? All right, cool. So
Is your microphone on?
my microphone is on.
It's on through your computer then, I think.
It says it's through Black Magic Design. So
This isn't even, right? This one.
You might have to turn the gain up a little bit.
how about now? Testing 1, 2, testing.
That's better.
Like check. Check. I think we're good, Mayor. All right. We'll see.
Right on time, no. Yeah, had to bring her home. Had to bring her home. Drop her off. Pick my truck up, bring it over to my buddy's shop, drop that off, go back to this, gotta go to Michigan to pick up the road because my truck is off over there to be fixed.
Okay, at 7 o'clock, we'll start with the April 13th, 2022 regular meeting of the Scotia Village Board of Trustees. We'll start with the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call the roll.
Here.
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 Yes.
Before we go on to item 3, we've had 2 stalwarts of the village pass away in the last week and a half. Sharon Trumpler lived in the 200 block of Glen Avenue, had the prettiest garden on the street that anybody, and worked hard on trying to get the CVS project right. She was a fighter. John Jones lived at the intersection of Albion and Albemarle. Also a fighter. He was the commander of that part of the world, and always looked out for the school kids across the street. So if we could have a moment of silence for them, I'd appreciate it. Thank you, everybody. Item number 3, we have a new police officer working on training as we did right now. So Aaron Lally, if you could come up, we'll sorry, if anybody wants to come up and take pictures, you're welcome to. Just don't feel. Great. So welcome. Hi. Aaron. State your name.
I, Aaron Lobby,
Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United
the
States,
state of New York,
the state of New York,
and the code of the Village of Scotia,
and the code of the Village of Scotia,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully discharge
the duties of Scotia police officer according to the best of my ability.
the duties of Scotia police officer to the best of my ability.
He's the class leader, just so you know.
Testing 1, 2.
Yeah. I hear him.
Okay, I'm flying blind, so I guess we just proceed.
So, but I just turned my microphone back on and it's not feeding back.
So turn your microphone off and try the audio again.
Sorry, everybody, we're having a little trouble with the sound again. Stand by for a minute. All right. Well,
Yeah, I'll turn your mic on.
I'm going to go ahead with my mic and keep going.
You can turn your sound on too.
The which? Yeah.
Turn your sound on.
Yeah. All right. Item number 4, privilege of the floor. This is for everything except budget. I have Jeff Silvernail of garden fame. Can
Thank you, Mayor Gifford. Trustees. I'm someone who walks a lot in this village. All 4 seasons I'm out there, I'm on the balcony. I just want to bring your attention to what I believe is a safety issue, which could be pretty easily rectified, and it involves Second Dog Road specifically. So, so by my count, I'm not sure exactly where the village line is, but I think there are 16 side streets that intersect with Second Dog Road, and not one single one of those intersections is a 4 corners. They're all offset, every single one of them. Meanwhile, there are only 2 crosswalks, one in the village down here at Mohawk and the other one up at the high school. The rest of the Second Dog Road has no crosswalks, and because all of the 16 roads are offset, I think it's difficult for drivers to anticipate where pedestrians might cross. So what I'm going to suggest is that perhaps we consider adding a few crosswalks. And I was thinking as I was walking there that maybe 3 might be appropriate. Thinking of one at 2nd Street by McKeel School, one at 5th, which is where drivers stop anyways. The only place along Second Dog Road with a stop sign. And then one perhaps at North Cole, so folks who are crossing the street to go to the Scotia Plaza could do so safely. I think this is something we can do with minimal cost, and it would improve the quality of life and the safety for our village residents.
So are you talking about crossing Sac and Dog?
Crossing Second Dog.
Is that something we have to give to the state, or how do we do that?
And there's that project coming up.
I've heard there's a project, so it might be a good time to consider.
Right.
So should I write them a letter? How do we do that?
I'll talk to them and then get some project information.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thanks, Jeff.
Okay, item 5, the fiscal year 22-23 budget. So I should do the budget presentation now. Is that the?
Yeah, I would.
Is that okay? So, yeah, unfortunately, well, this is not unfortunate at all, but just we have right. Yes, but we have to do the original. We have to present the original the way it was presented because that's what we have to do. So we had an occurrence today that changes the budget, or potentially changes the budget. It's in a good way, but the mayor's budget from before looks like you'll. All right, so share. All right, how do I get that to which?
On the Zoom, I see your Windows Explorer.
I can't hear you. Or
Online,
Here.
I see.
I can't get it to go. Where do you click?
Just double click on the first page.
Yeah, I'm doing that.
Didn't work.
But you're not sharing it on this.
Hmm?
You're not sharing it on the Zoom.
It says I am. You are screen sharing.
You don't have the right screen, so. See what that does.
So George, how do you minimize these guys?
There you go.
Hmm?
That's sharing that program.
I understand, but
Layout. Or slideshow at top. That's what it's talking
I can't do it.
in the toolbar, slideshow. On the top of it.
All right. So anyway, we'll have to look at portions of them.
That's good.
What?
You can see.
Can you? You can't see all the way over.
Yes.
I can't. Okay. I can't read it to anybody because I can't see it.
It's not centered on the screen. It's being covered.
No, because I can't make these go away.
Sorry.
No, it's not. Done full on his screen. It's covered by.
So with the space bar, is that what you want to see?
Okay. All right, so this is the executive budget as proposed. We were at the time proposing to have The expenditures increased by 2.56%. The revenues increased by 3.44%, which is makes a nice change. We've never had, in a long time, we haven't had the revenues increasing. The same use of fund balance as last year, so that's a 0% increase. So the property tax levy was proposed at 2.26. Net assessment at 0.09, and the tax rate per thousand increase of 2.17. This is the cost of providing village services over the last 10 years or so. They continue to go up, but not any very different one year to the next. It just, people continue to want raises and stuff continues to get more expensive. These are the historically and accurately the three ways we get to balance the budget. It's, the revenue coming in, which stays pretty much the same all the time. The fund balance, which is, they don't like us to say it, but it's sort of like the taxpayer savings account. It's money we've collected in taxes but haven't spent yet. And then the third one is property taxes, which we all know and try to avoid. This is our historical use of the fund balance. We had it up over $2 million in 2013. We get criticized for that. I think it's a little high for a village. We shouldn't be holding that much money, but in any event, we have we've leveled off at around a little over $1 million, and that's a comfortable number according to the state controller. This is a graph of the revenue and expenses. They're pretty regular. That's the use of fund balance and the revenue are pretty much flat, and the expense keeps going up the same as you saw in the other slide. Whoop. All right, I don't know how to make it go back now. All right. So this is the employer retirement contribution. This is you can see in 2003 it was at 0 because the comptroller had a bunch of good investments and didn't require the local employers to contribute, and now we're close to $1 million a year. We don't have any choice with that. It's just the way, they send us a letter every year saying it is. Okay. This is personnel costs. Same sort of thing we described before. It increases in a sort of linear fashion. No year being at much more or much less than the year before. This is what we have included in the budget. Basically, we're funding the same stuff we did last year at the same sort of rate. We've been lucky to be able to keep all the programs, keep the departments fully funded, and the other sidewalk program, park guards, crossing guards, the things that the people in the village like to see, and no increases in water and sewer. And then this is how tax dollar is spent in the village. You can see fire and police, fire, police, DPW are the slightly more than 3/4 of it. And that's just basically spending money for people to do the work for us. So anyway, that's where we are with the executive budget. All right. Now,
We're back online, so if you wouldn't mind trying to just switch audio.
Test 1, 2, test 1, 2.
okay. So now we have the public hearing for the budget. I have
This is telling them to turn the mic down just a little bit.
Okay.
You're screaming at me.
I have Amanda. Can you come up to the microphone, please?
Hi there. Not a stranger to this podium. I'm Amanda Gonzalez Barone. I live at 6 North Holmes Street, and I'm here speaking on behalf of many of my neighbors. Part of what I was going to talk about today had nothing to do with the technical difficulties. It's kind of, it's not appropriate that we can't have the Zoom stuff figured out by now. There are people tuning in from home, probably missed that whole part of the presentation, and they missed privilege on the floor. They don't really know what they're going to be speaking to at this point if they do speak about the budget. So I've been here several times over many months. I'm a fixture here now, and I've seen every single time we have these Zoom problems. So I'm just hoping this can get sorted out soon so that people can actually participate who can't physically be here. Anyway, in looking at this year's budget, there are some efforts being made to try to offset the shortfalls caused by increased expenses. 2 key ways this was approached with the decisions made within the police department to reduce the overtime, and also via the merger of DPW and the Parks Department. Additionally, it's encouraging to see the proposed study regarding the brownfield opportunity area in the village and its potential impact on our business district to make use of the unusable spaces that exist in the village. These types of decisions reflect an interest in the long-term success and sustainability of our village. However, there are concerns that this is where the search for opportunities ended. And it also concerns regarding this year's reliance on the general fund and the ARPA funds in balancing the budget. These funds are a non-recurring cash infusion, and while they assisted with many much needed repairs, such as the repairs to Well 2 and the repairs to Village Hall and the fire department, and those costs cannot be recovered via the municipal facilities project, these funds seem to have been used as a Band-Aid to postpone addressing our major village budget problems for yet another year. An expression has been used in reference to the current firehouse project about kicking the can down the road. That seems to be what's being done in this case. Rather than critically analyzing the budget and finding ways to preserve our village services without continually burdening the taxpayers with high tax raises, almost 1/3 of this year's ARPA funds were used to superficially reduce our tax increase this year. The budget problems and increasing costs didn't go away. We are just delaying addressing them for another year or two, basically until the ARPA funds and the fund balance run out. And with the $15 million facilities project looming, with these costs to be applied to taxpayers within the next year or two if the project gets approved, this presents a ticking time bomb that could cause the financial collapse of the village when it all explodes at the same time. The taxpayer costs presented in the facilities presentation are misleading if you don't do the math. Huber Brewer is presenting our tax costs as $210 per $100,000 assessed value over the next 24 to 26 years, with most of us focusing on the number $210 per year because that's what's printed on the slide. Realtor.com and Zillow list the current average home prices in Scotia as $185,000 and $197,000 respectively. Going with the low end of $185,000, that is actually $389 per year for most homeowners, almost double what's printed on Huber Brewer's slide. Over the 24 to 26 year period of this project, that comes to a total of about $10,000 for the average taxpayer. Therefore, each taxpayer in the village is being expected to pay about $10,000 of their family's money for this project. And all of this on top of our existing village taxes and any potential future increases that will occur as a result of not managing the budget responsibly. Additionally, we can expect our taxes to go up with the recurring expenses of a new $10 million firehouse on the village tax rolls. Heating and cooling, insurance, maintenance, internet, furnishings, repairs, custodial costs, and more. These are all things that will be added to the village's annual budget. And contrary to what Huber Brewer claimed during the facilities forum on March 22nd, energy efficiencies in the renovations to Village Hall are not going to be significant enough to cover the cost of a new building at nearly double the square footage and price of the existing one. I'm a business owner and I have 2 buildings to maintain. No matter how many solar panels and LED light bulbs I put in one building, it is not going to pay for the expenses of running my other location. I would challenge Huber Brewer to present hard evidence to back those claims. Otherwise, making them, as they did in the March 22nd public forum, is misleading and irresponsible to Scotia taxpayers, who are the financial stakeholders in this project. Lying blindly to taxpayers is not a way to get them to be on board with this project. All of these impending costs, the nearly $400 per year for the average Scotia homeowner for almost 30 years to fund the municipal facilities project, plus the future expenses of a new firehouse, coupled with the eventual high tax increase that we're going to face after the fund balance and ARPA funds are depleted, create a situation that spells catastrophe for the village unless it is addressed now. We as residents are asking the board to enter this year with the intention of making responsible long-term decisions regarding the village budget, rather than postponing addressing the village's financial problems for another year. For the US Census in 2020, the village's population has declined 6% over the last 10 years. That means fewer residents to shoulder the tax burden. And if that trend continues, each of us will be asked to contribute more and more than what's on paper now until we are forced out of the village financially. Refusing to actually fix the budget long-term is creating the perfect storm of economic destruction for Scotia. All at once, we will feel the effects of the unbuffered tax implications of rising service costs, the facility project's costs, and the cost of maintaining the new firehouse, and all of this in addition to annual contractual increases, inflation, and rising medical insurance costs, which were cited as the key reasons why the budget continues to be so hard to manage and was highlighted on the slide with the frame where the graph keeps going up and up and up every single year. With all of these factors summed together, we're looking at a ridiculous tax burden in the next year or two, which many people won't even see coming. If we use the municipal facilities project as a case study of the village's lack of effective communication with residents, only about 300 people out of 7,000 residents responded to the site survey. That's about 4%, and per the village email, some of those weren't even village residents. I'm afraid to think what's going to happen when residents who have no clue what's going on, who don't have access to the internet or social media, check their tax bill in 2 years and get sticker shock when all of these expenses hit at once. That's why it's important to stop kicking the can down the road. We can't depend on grant money that we may or may not receive. We can't keep paying forward any huge budget deficits directly onto taxpayers. And we can't keep drawing on the fund balance, which has been so depleted in the last decade that we need to consider ways to restore it, not use it as a temporary fix. We need to find meaningful ways to fix the budget now through long-term fiscally responsible decisions with the longevity of the village in mind. I don't think any of us in this room want to see the village go bankrupt. The argument continues to be made by the board that we want to save the services, and that's why more action isn't taken to manage costs. This has been said repeatedly for years. What's going to happen to the services if the village goes bankrupt and the town of Glenville is forced to absorb us through New York state law? No one wants to see that happen, but that's the road we're on right now. It will become a self-fulfilling prophecy. The very thing we're trying to avoid will come true without strategic action now. And this is not a new problem. To go back in history a bit, I've read through some of the meeting minutes from April 8th, 2020, over 2 years ago, when residents spoke out about this same issue. I'd like to share some of their comments with you, taken directly from the meeting minutes. To respect their privacy, I won't read their names, but they are listed in the minutes in case anyone wants to verify these quotes. And these are all from different residents, and these were said to 4 out of 5 of the existing board members right now 2 years ago. Quote, I guess I'm just trying to understand what the use for the increase is. If there are any potential alternatives, maybe other programs or services that could be cut or mitigated to kind of compensate for that. Quote, even after seeing the presentation that you just put up, it's apparent that our costs just keep going up and our revenue is not. If we ran our house budget like that, we would be bankrupt. Quote, I want to say we have been here 11 years in Scotia. We love the village. We love the people here. I realize the board and the mayor are between a rock and a hard place, but I want to raise my concerns that we already have high taxes as a community, not just the village tax, but all the taxes. That is just part of it, and they are getting higher. And my concern is that it causes the property values to stagnate, resulting in more absentee landlords and general decline in our housing stock. Quote, I understand the problem that you have to provide services, but you're raising taxes on people when they can least afford it. Quote, I'm disappointed that you are not addressing the concerns and ignoring residents' concerns. To compare these quotes from 2 years ago versus now, I've taken a quick poll of residents as of today, this afternoon, asking them why they don't show up and speak at these meetings. Here are some of what they say today. Quote, I stopped going to these "we did it, you get used to it" meetings. I don't think they take what we say as anything to respect. Going there tonight won't do anything. Quote, each trustee got an email from me with suggestions. No one had the courtesy to respond. Quote, I feel that the village board doesn't listen and frankly has never listened. There are many more quotes that essentially say the same thing. So in the interest of time, I'll stop there. But this is the type of community you have created over multiple years. You have established a village culture where people either are afraid to talk to you or they feel it's completely pointless. We have been pleading with you as residents for years now. This is unaffordable and unsustainable, but nothing of long-term impact has been done to mitigate it. You've had years to rethink the budget, to balance what our community can afford against the services that we have. The short-term solution of passing rising costs directly onto the taxpayers or crossing fingers that a grant comes through will only work so long until the taxes make it too expensive for us to stay here. The issue keeps getting pushed off year after year, and it's not going away. It's only getting worse. Many of the arguments that you on the board are making in favor of the facilities project can and should be made to the village budget as a whole. The time has passed to delay the inevitable. We are not trying to fix why are we not trying to fix the impending destruction of the village economy? And ignoring this problem at this point is irresponsible and will only create worse problems down the road. I hope the board will realistically consider these concerns. I understand that I speak up a lot, and it might be misunderstood that I'm the only one who has these concerns. And contrary to what a recent village email claimed, first and foremost, I am a Scotia resident, a homeowner, and a taxpayer. So I have a stake in what happens where I live and how it affects my family. We are not wealthy. I am a small business owner struggling to recover my business after a pandemic devastated us. My wife is a local school teacher. We don't have endless streams of income, and we don't want to be forced to sell our home because the taxes become too expensive for us to stay. On top of that, I represent hundreds of my neighbors who share these concerns and either can't be here due to family conflicts, childcare problems, or work obligations, or technical difficulties, or are too intimidated to speak up directly to the board, so they trust me to do so on their behalf. I can see their fears about speaking at these meetings since those residents who do speak up have to worry about being publicly targeted by the village board and village-wide emails just for asking questions. You are our representatives. When we speak, you should listen, even if you don't agree. You should not be responding to conflicting opinions with public shaming, belittling comments, or literally targeting people where they live or work in government communications, which seems like an outright abuse of government resources and a misappropriation of our taxpayer dollars. Frankly, I find it horrible that my own tax dollars are being used to target me as a detractor on the village-wide email list because I'm asking questions about how my tax dollars are being used. And that's a huge problem. It's no wonder why no one wants to speak up at these meetings if you attack those that disagree with you rather than listening and entertaining the concept that there's something to be learned there. That's not how government representatives should behave. And that is definitely not how progress is achieved or how a community is nurtured. Please do better and please start listening to us. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who'd like to be heard with privilege of the floor in the audience? Is there anybody on Zoom who'd like to be heard?
I don't see any hands.
Raise your hand if you do. Thank you. So we'll close privilege of the floor. As I alluded earlier, we got a message from our insurance agent at 3 o'clock this afternoon that the workers' comp insurance which last year was 153,000, is we've got a quote to renew for 131,000. So our budget can be reduced in terms of workers' comp, and so then in that case, it looks like, let me see if I can do it this time. Sorry?
Do the motion.
Let me show it first, and then we'll do it. So. Okay, so this is the new look of the proposing to change the budget. So, sorry?
I assume they're just seeing the down.
It's only seeing the downloads.
Well, what do you suggest?
This is gonna work. We'll try to share. Just make sure you share the documents.
So when you go into share screen, you want to make sure you share your entire computer, not just a tab.
Where's that?
So they can see it now, so just hold it on.
Okay. No, this is the. So this is the one, it's now reduced by 17,400. And the property tax levy is 1.95%. The tax rate per thousand is 1.86%. So we are successfully dropped below the tax cap without without taking any more from fund balance or doing any fancy math. It's legitimately pretty neat. So that's we need to propose it. How do you?
I'd like to make a
Okay.
motion to decrease A 1910 4,000 by 700, A 3120 4,400 by 2,000, A 3410 4,400 by 10,100, A 5010 4,400 by 800, A 7140 4,400 by 800, and A 9040 8,000 by 3,000 for a total of $17,400, offset by a decrease to property tax levy A 1001 real estate taxes.
No, second.
I also like to, in the same motion, I'd like to decrease the F fund 9040 8,000 by $2,000, offset by F 2140 by $2,000. Also decrease the G fund 9040 8,000 by $600. This motion will make a tax levy increase of just 1.86%, or tax rate increase of 1.86%, and a tax levy increase of 1.95%.
And I'll
And
second.
that's prefaced by due to a reduction in our.
Due to a reduction in our workers' comp premiums.
She
Thank
seconds
you.
again.
Clerk call the roll.
Yes.
Trustee Rizzo.
Yes.
Mayor Gifford.
Yes.
Trustee Greg.
Yes.
Trustee Solichak.
Yes.
All right. That is nice.
Now we need
What?
No, you're not,
Now the motion.
not a motion. to
I'd like
accept.
to make
Oh.
a motion to adopt the 2022-2023 budget as amended.
I'll second that motion.
Clerk call the roll.
Trustee Cook,
Yes.
trustee Rizzo.
Yes.
Trustee Gregg,
Yes.
trustee Solotrap,
Yes.
Mayor Gifford.
Yes. Thank you, everybody. Item number 6. We have a resolution to authorize the mayor to sign the June 1st renewal of MVP.
I would like to make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item 7, we have a resolution to authorize the mayor to sign the first renewal of the MetLife dental plan.
I'll make that motion.
I'm sorry, June 1st renewal.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item 8, we have a motion to authorize the mayor to sign the June 1st renewal of the iMed Vision Care.
I'll make that motion.
I'll
Oh.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item 9, we have a resolution to authorize the mayor to sign change order number 5 and change order number 6 for the wastewater pump station project contract. Number 1, waste removal and disposal.
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Mayor, how are we doing on that project? Are we making any headway on it?
We're still waiting for the power company to say we can take that building down. That's all we're waiting for, right? Right?
Okay, thank you.
They're being slow
I'll
on
make the motion.
a number of
And
projects.
and I'll second.
Okay.
May I just ask what the specifics about the change order request?
Yeah, it was for the increase in the PCB.
That's right. Okay.
All right.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item number 10, we have a resolution to authorize payments 6 and 7 to O'Connell Electric in the amount of $2,850 and $8,997.20.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Item 11, we have a motion to authorize the mayor to sign proposal with LaBella Associates to prepare the BOA nomination study in the amount of $200,000. That's covered by grant.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item 12. We have a motion to authorize the mayor to sign proposal with Prime AE Engineering Services related to pump station force main funding application in an amount not to exceed $5,100.
I'll make the motion, authorize the mayor to sign proposal with AE for engineering services related to pump station force main funding application in amount of not to exceed 5,100.
I'll second.
So this is
Some of this be covered under
this is something we're really hoping for, that there our pipe that takes the sewage to the city is getting old, and this is a proactive solution, we hope. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item 13, can we have a resolution to permanently appoint Rick Quick as a position MEO medium effective February 10th?
I'll make a motion to appoint Rick Quick to position of MEO medium effective.
These two are ones we missed earlier. Obviously, it's February. So,
I'll second that motion.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item 14, you have a resolution to permanently appoint Mark Mortensen to position of MEO light effective February 10th.
I'll make a motion to permanently appoint Mark Mortison to position of MEO light effective February 10th.
I'll second that motion too.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item 15, can we have a resolution to amend fiscal year? No, is that 20? What?
Yes.
21-22 budget to increase,
Decrease.
what?
Was it increase or, oh no, one's increase.
Increase
Increase one, decrease one.
8320.4540 by 63, 6,340 and decrease F fund balance for well and pump repairs.
I'll make a motion to amend fiscal year 21-22 budget, increase F.8320.4540 by $6,340 and then decrease the F fund balance for well pump number 3 repairs.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Item 16. Tell me what that one is. Is that the,
Just the standard workday for resetting the standard workday for that.
okay, so the state retirement people require us to report our time of service. Do we have to do a motion for that? How do, what is it? What's the nature of the motion?
It's a resolution.
Yeah, a motion to establish a standard workday for elected positions. Submitted in form RS 2417-A.
Sorry. Okay, item 17. We have a resolution to waive the pavilion reservations fees for the Schenectady County Library programs July 7th and August 18th.
For the record, the audio is going out to the Zoom through Tom's computer, so the public is still being recorded.
Okay,
I move that resolution.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item 18, the most exciting part of the day. Justin, do you want to come over here?
You can have it.
So people can hear it in Zoom
We
land.
can hear it.
They can hear you just fine.
You're not no stranger to speaking loud. So.
All right, Village of Scotia's MS4 Annual Report Summary, March 2021 to March 2022. The MCM #1 requirement, public education. Stormwater pamphlets, handouts, and posters are available at the village clerk's office, DPW office, and building department office. #2, the village water quality report postcard was sent to all residents and included a link to the village's MS4 program webpage. #3, yard waste and loose leaf pickup programs were posted on the electronic sign at Collins Park, on the village website, and the mass email list of 1,200 village residents. #4, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the village did not have a fire department open house event. In the past years, stormwater brochures were handed out at the fire department open house. Village plans on resuming public education events when it is safe to do so. MCM #2 requirement, public involvement and participation. Schenectady County Water Quality Committee meetings. The village is represented at all 10 meetings each year. Meetings were held virtually. The MS4 annual report is posted on the village website and available at the clerk's office for review and comment. 24,000 pet waste bags were utilized. A canal clean sweep, 4th of July fireworks cleanup, and Collins Lake cleanup were not performed this year due to the COVID-19 pandemic. However, there were 40 volunteers at the Earth Day cleanup that collected 40 bags of garbage. The village plans on resuming these public involvement events when it is safe to do so. MSM requirement #3, illicit discharge detection and elimination. All 25 stormwater outfalls are mapped within the village. 11 were inspected in December of 2020. The locations of stormwater sewer outfalls and catch basins are mapped and available for view on the Schenectady County Internet Mapping System. MSM requirement #4 and #5, construction site and post-construction control. During the program year, there were 0 projects requiring SWIFT reviews. Number 2, the village inspected 3 post-construction stormwater management practices that are owned by the village, several times each during the year. Maintenance was performed as needed, including mowing and mowing of the grass areas. MSM number 6, municipal operations. During the past year, village streets were swept 2 times for a total of 104 miles clean, and approximately 2 acres of parking lots were swept. 55 catch basins were inspected and cleaned as necessary, approximately 8% of the system, including those on Cuthbert Street and Bly Road prior to the paving work that was performed there. C, Parks Department applied minimal amounts of fertilizer in village parks and none near Collins Lake to help combat high phosphorus levels. Notes, MS4 is equals municipal separate storm sewer system. Note number 2, MCM equals minimum control measure. And note number 3, SWIP, stormwater pollution prevention plan.
All right, thank you. It's just, this is a requirement of the program. It has to be read every year. So Justin, second year doing a fabulous job. Thank you.
I don't think I heard once.
Item number 19, mayor's comments to the board. So we've had several more facilities meetings. We've got a location in the parcel adjacent to the between the paint store and the church, which the village bought in 1991 for the purpose of expanding municipal facilities, and we hope we get that chance. I have talked to the people from the bid, talked to Gary from the paint store. Not everybody's happy, but they're happier than they were because there's the current layout does not take any of the church property, and so that part of the parking lot will be pretty large, and the village is still leasing that from the church, and will be public parking to quite a good extent. There is a forum scheduled for the 21st of April next week at the First Reformed Church on Boston Avenue at 7 o'clock. We're moving there to hope to accommodate anybody who wants to come. They have quite a bit better capacity than here. Let's see, the Sunnyside Road Bridge, Ryan and I interviewed 3 different engineering firms. We picked a winner. I don't think it's been public yet, so we won't make that public now, but we'll in the next couple of days we will work on hiring the people, but it's looking optimistic for keeping that moving. The Parks and DPW people, now they're all the same, I guess, have been working hard on the Freedom Park stage and surroundings. If you haven't been there, you got to stop down and look at it. I pity any iceberg that comes down the river now and tries to break that thing up, because it is solid. We got notice in the last couple of days that a couple lawsuits that had the potential of being expensive to the village have been settled mostly in the village's favor. So that should save us some money in the future. Are you back on again?
Yep.
Okay, I will admit you and mute myself, and we'll go on to the correspondence. George?
What are you sorry for?
Liaison reports.
It has been a busy month with all the meetings for the budget discussion and the facilities project. Went on a Flint House tour. That's quite a piece of Scotia history that we're hoping to find a way to re-engage with the group to start working on some of the rehab that is needed. Our garden, the village garden that I've been in charge of and started. When was that? 2010, 2011? It's been quite some time now. It's been a long time. There's applications coming in now. Mr. Silvernail has been a member for many years. Thank you. It's a place for village residents who don't have a lot of yard to have a plot of garden to get your hands dirty a little bit. The Little League completed some upgrades to the park today with a lot of help from our Parks Department. Thank you, Ryan and team, for helping them out. You'll see some new sod on the AAA field, double A field, and then you're going to be seeing some new batting cages that the Little League is putting together to help with the training of their members. I mentioned the facilities project before. That's obviously a sorely needed upgrade for the village facilities, and it's important to note that the relocation of the fire department is essential for the other village facilities to be upgraded to current day standards, ADA compliance, and anything that to make really a effective workplace for our village facilities to be supported in. And I'm looking forward to the public presentations and speaking to residents about that, and hopefully reducing that $210 per 100,000 that was presented in the meetings before. I'm one of those people that's assessed at $185,000, and it works out to like $37 a month for me, or $32, $37 for me a month. So I'm happy to pay that for the improvement to our village facilities. Sacandaga sewer work, Mr. Ketzers told me today about the completion of the sewer pipe being repaired to its full extent by lining it. We remember around the holidays that there was some major work going on there, so it's good to see that come to close, and I look forward to the Sacandaga Road project with the New York State DOT and hopefully addressing some of the improvements that Mr. Silvernail mentioned tonight. That'll be a good thing for the village. And I just wanted to say thank you again to our village department heads. It's this time of year, working on the budget is always a stressful time for all of us. And Justin was fortunate to go through it the first time this year. Second time, but this is the first time that you've been in knees deep in it. And it's always a challenging time. There always are questions, the necessities that the village has, and continuing the village as is an intensive process. So I wanted to thank the department heads again for having that happen. We had some fortunate revenues this year that have allowed so there was some increased revenues that we were able to see some savings on for the budget to get down below the tax cap. I just kind of want to put a little bit of framework around it. I did some calculations when we got that notice today about the reduction in permit costs. And one of the things that we look at every year is the funding for the the health insurance. And for many years, the village has been having perma do that stuff. And including this year, we looked at options to change that to save money for the village, which is what we do every single year. Regardless of what anybody thinks or knows or says or hears, we are every single year looking to save money, to reduce the budget numbers, to reduce the asks to the village residents. It's true, our revenues are flat in many respects. It is true that we have to look at increasing costs to maintain our staffing at the contractual levels to deliver the services of police, fire, Department of Public Works, and all of our other facilities and employee memberships that we are required to, and we are happy to deliver to the village residents, very much so. And again, it is an increase in cost. But I just want to put a little bit of framework about what happened today. The budget as presented, when the mayor presented it, had a tax increase of 0.318431 cents per $1,000. Okay, we're back. Are we back? No, we're not back. Are you sure? Yes, you are back. Yeah, the little birdie in my ear. I just wanted to put a little bit of framework around so again, the budget presented by the mayor had just under 32 cents per $1,000. So again, I'm that guy with my house assessment taxed above the average of the village in tax assessment. At 185,000, because the average tax assessed house is $130,000 for the formal calculation. Not necessarily the sales prices or sales levels that are being realized today by Zillow. There is an actual number that it's calculated by, which the average number is $130,000. I'm assessed at $185,000 because I am a taxpayer as well, and all the decisions that I have greatly affect my thoughts about the future and the services I receive for that. So again, I'm happy to pay the money because I know the services we have are important to the residents and myself, having had to use them before. So 32 cents per $1,000 worked out to be about $35.42 a month. No, excuse me, 35.42 per $1,000, right?
The average household increases.
35.42 per $1,000
No,
assessed
per
value.
130,000.
Total year, 35.40, okay. So the budget as we just adopted was either way, for me, per thousand, it was $58.09 per year. And then today it was $50.40 per year. So the savings I saw from the budget presented to the budget we adopted today was $8.50 a year.
Okay.
Which is about 7 cents per month. So I just wanted to say that out loud because that's the reality of what we're looking at. When you think 2% for the tax increase is a bad thing, or it's a sign of fiscal irresponsibility, I really encourage you to actually do the calculations. Nothing is going to get cheaper. Nothing will ever be less this year than it was last year when it comes to providing village services. The budget as presented, again, is $8.50 different than we adopted today. And I'm happy to pay 70 cents a month to keep the services we have. Again, I like to lead with facts and reality, and that's where I'm at. So when you start looking at next year's budget, and your taxes may go up $1 a month or 50 cents a month, or $85 or $58 a year, you know, or the increase, I'm sorry, I misspoke. The increase was $8.50 or decrease from $58 to $50 a year. So if your taxes are going to go up $58 a year, that's not a bad thing. So thank you again to the village and the village department heads for working to get to where we were, because that's an achievement, to get to a place where we can not use any fund balance, where we can still move forward and continue the services we have at the level we have. And please know that we work very hard every year and lose some sleep over, a lot of sleep over. And I continue to lose hair. And I looked at a picture of myself like from 7 years ago, and my beard has gotten so much more gray. But we think about these things every year, and there is no irresponsibility or I'm trying to think of the right word. There is no I'm happy to deliver what we have. So,
Thank you.
thank you.
Heather?
I'll start where you ended.
Super.
I just want to say I'm very proud of this budget, and I want to thank all the department heads and the mayor and the board. You know, we may not agree originally, and we all have to brainstorm, and you know, tonight we delivered a budget that was below the tax cap. I originally voted no, and it may, as trustee Solotruck and his viewpoint, it may be minor. But my position is that I'm here because the people have elected me, and I'm going to carefully look at the budget, and that was my position. I was very happy to get news around 3:30 today from Maria Marks with regards to the PERMA. It was like, okay, this is my wish, and we're below the tax cap. And it's not just to be below the tax cap. It is the energy and the frustration and the desire for each board member and the mayor to do the best that we can for the residents of Scotia. And we may have different ways to get there, but you know, I'm very proud that we all agreed and we persevered and we got the job done. And with regards to, and it's not a ridiculous tax burden. So we work hard and we delivered, and that's something to be proud of tonight. So I want to thank everyone. The municipal facilities project is needed. This is not, okay, well, we're just going to put it together. This has been a topic, like I said, in our last meeting. It's been on and off the table for 20 years. We need it. I encourage anybody who thinks that we don't need it to please come down to the fire department and see Chief Wood and see the trucks and how much space is between the trucks and the wall. Come over to village clerk's office and use the restroom and see if they need a new restroom. Those are two good examples. Come and see how the clerks operate in crowded facilities. Come to a board meeting and look at the roof right here and see the contraption that we all have put together. And it's not raining tonight, so that's a good sign.
But we thank Ryan's team for putting it together.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the point is that I encourage everyone to come down here because we're fighting to do the right thing for the residents of Scotia. So I'll move on, but I'm very proud of the budget, and I'm very proud of the residents who came out and participated in the survey. And I look forward to the residents' voice as to if they wish to have a municipal facilities project coming in the next year or so. I will go right into then my meeting with Chief Wood. He expressed great gratitude with the board and the mayor as to our desire and trying to look to the future in terms of this municipal facilities project. So you're welcome. And we continue to look for the public's input as to the direction we're going to be heading to. But we've made it this far, so progress is continuing. I don't think we have to save the village. I think we have to continue to move the village forward, and we're doing it. And we made a strong statement here tonight. So with regards to the report from the fire department, we are getting increased calls. We're definitely up. Numbers are up each month overall from last year. We had 167 calls for the month. We had 426 calls for the calendar year. And that is per Chief Wood's report. We're moving forward on May 25th. We're going to have our annual Memorial Day parade, hopefully, but we're going to go ahead and do the chicken barbecue, which is the fire department's fundraiser. So I just want everyone to put that on the calendar, and that will be a nice event. I believe the parade is around 4 to 6 p.m. Mayor, something like that.
6 o'clock, I believe it starts. They want to kick off a little.
Yeah, I don't.
Okay, we're gonna have the barbecue, so I encourage everyone to put that date on their calendar. And I want to say post-COVID. I hope it is post-COVID. So I hope we're moving forward, and that will be a nice event for the village residents. With regards to the town, I did have a meeting with the supervisor with regards to the grant that we did discuss on our last work session. And I had a lot of concerns because we're talking about a $7 million project with a contribution of $890,000 for the town of Glenville, as well as the village of Scotia. But we have had follow-up conversations with regards to that, and the exposure looks like around $200,000 each for the town of Glenville and each for the village of Scotia, which we will hopefully seek grants so that there will not be any exposure for each municipality. So the supervisor did extend assistance with regards to that grant. I will speak with the mayor and the remaining board members as to working together. I think it will be a good opportunity to work together, only because we want a complete project. If the town, if we don't continue for whatever reason, and the town does, there's going to only be a partial project. So I would encourage an opportunity to work with the supervisor and the grant writer, and let's get this project off the ground and make sure it's complete, and look for those grants so that we don't have to expend any personal monies either for the town of Glenville or for the village of Scotia. So more to come on that. I wanted to clarify my position. I'm always looking for opportunities like this. I think it's wonderful, but I did not have that much information. I reached out to the supervisor. He in turn reached out to the grant writer, and I think we're all on the same page. So I'm happy that we're at least looking at that, and hopefully we'll have grants so that we do not have to worry about that $200,000 coming out of our pockets respectively. There was not a police reform or traffic safety committee meeting. We had those at our last meeting, but they will be, the police reform committee, is my understanding, will meet quarterly. And after that next meeting, I will have a report. Also, I wanted to mention, it's a little far out, but with regards to the town of Glenville, the movies in the park looks like they're going to be returning in August. So we're really moving forward, and it's nice to see that the events are coming back. And hopefully that will continue in August. I also want to encourage everyone to get over to the library if you haven't seen the additional room, it's a really beautiful setting. And the library hours are somewhat limited. But, you know, I've seen an influx of people go. So I just want to make sure everyone that knows our Scotia Library is open and ready for people to come back in after COVID. They've also waived any of the late fees. So that took place last month. And so I encourage everyone to stop over at the library. And again, I just want to thank all the department heads. You've done a wonderful job. It's great working with you. And I know that you spent a lot of time in the budget. And there's been frustrations and, you know, how can we make things easier and still perform the services? And all of you do an outstanding job. I see the DPW crew when I'm out 7 a.m. They fixed the stage. The stage looks wonderful. And the banner in the back had fallen. They're out there. I see the firemen early in the morning, and I certainly see Chief Harrigan coming in early in the morning. So I want to commend all our village employees. And I especially want to give a shout out to Maria Marks today for giving me that great news. Not good news, great news. It made my day. So thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Heather. I just noticed I forgot to include in my report the village-wide garage sale, June 4th, 9 to 3. Thanks to Lynn, posters are out. Registration deadline by May 27th. So we're gonna get moving on that again. Thank you. Joe.
And I too will echo my thoughts on the budget. I did vote no on the original budget, but seeing that the savings we have through our good clerks downstairs, I voted yes for this budget. We worked very hard to deliver a good balanced budget for all the residents in the village of Scotia. It took a lot of hard work and headaches from everybody, but we finally did it. On the facilities project, this is my third time around with this, and this is the most successful move on our facilities project that we had. I would like to move it and continue on, and I would like to have all the residents participate in all the forums we have, so all questions are answered, so there be no misleading statements on the outside. It's very important that all the residents are informed on what's going on, because it's their village. We want them to be to know what's going on. I want to thank Maria for all her hard work with her staff downstairs to work on the budget and to give us the good news we had this afternoon. And I also want to throw a word of thanks to Jimmy Archibald and his carpenter expertise on doing the village Freedom Park. If you want to go down and look at the beautiful job he's done at all the guys at the Parks Department that they did on that stage, it really come out really nice. We will be having a Memorial Day parade where Tom and I and the rest of the people involved with it are on the committee working very hard to try to put this thing together and make it very successful, and it looks like it's going to be that way. The village special events committee also had a meeting of the car show, the Cruising on the Avenue. We are looking at it to be very successful again this year. Last year, we set a record of over 400 cars in the car show, and that's a record for any car show in the Capital District. So we're very proud of that, and we want to continue that. We're looking to expand the way we put the cars out in the village. We want to get them out in a timely, quick manner. So we are looking at new ideas to do that. We're also looking at possible new updating our registration so we can get the line done fast and the cars lined up. And we're looking for vendors and everything that we can do to continue to make this a very successful park. Let's see what else we had here. That's basically all. That's it.
So Joe, Just to continue your compliments of Maria and her department, we got this month the
With all the
the-
department heads, I forgot to
no,
mention that. Bill.
the fiscal stress report from the state comptroller,
Yes,
and we got very good grades this year. So we're really impressed. Thank you.
that was a good one.
And so Justin, that leaves you just 92 seconds to do whatever you need to do.
Oh, good lord. Well, you stole my thunder on the fiscal stress.
No, you can reiterate it if you want to.
So I want to begin by just speaking directly to the village residents. I joined the board in May of 2020. By far, one of the most difficult times I think anyone could assume a responsibility in municipal government. And I started fresh, new ideas, and boy, did I really not know much of anything. But over the last 2 years and 2 budget cycles, I've learned an incredible amount about how complex and difficult municipal budgeting is. I come from the private sector and from the nonprofit world, where your expenses are offset by revenues that you generate through the sale of your service. But when you're a municipality, you don't have revenues from sales of goods or services. We have the responsibility to provide medical support, policing, parks, streets, roads, sewers, water, essential building blocks of a community.
Clean water.
And clean water, especially now in the case of a lot of the water contamination. We have to provide these as an essential public service. The taxes that we pay are in fact investments in this infrastructure. They're investments in our community. And I found myself going back to 1904, when the village was incorporated, when this building was built, and wondering, why would a group of citizens want to create a village in the town of Glenville? Town of Glenville was already 100 years old at that point. And it came down to a simple fact, that people loved living in Scotia. Even then, the majority of the population of the town lived in the village of Scotia. It was a close, tight-knit community then, as it is now. Today, 25% of the town live in the village of Scotia. 60% of the students that go to Scotia Glenville Public Schools live in the village of Scotia. We live very close quarters. We know our neighbors, we love our neighbors. Sometimes we disagree with our neighbors, but at the end of the day, we step out of our house, we smile at each other, we nod. Living in a close-knit community, a walkable close-knit community, requires a different level of service than I think many communities. The challenges we face are more aligned with those faced by cities and other urban centers. According to the New York State Comptroller's Office, we are actually technically a mid-sized urban community. This makes things like community and close proximity policing essential. It makes having a hybrid career and volunteer fire department essential. 52 miles of roadway are woven between our 1.7 square mile village. That makes a DPW department essential. I grew up in the city of Troy, where we had one kept park at the time. This is in the 90s and the 2000s. My neighborhood park was overgrown, and it had, quite frankly, backstops and a basketball court built in the 80s. My daughter in Scotia enjoys not only Collins Park, but also the walk to the community garden. And if we ever get a dog park. My daughter has access to things I never could imagine. And my wife grew up in the village enjoying those things. I started dating my wife when I was 14. And I remember my first Freedom Park concert. So when we got married, we made the conscious choice that living in the village of Scotia is where we wanted to raise our family. 1.95% tax levy increase is amazing, especially in a time where inflation is approaching 10%. It's important for village residents to realize this is not by happenstance, nor is it by coincidence, nor is it by rolling the dice down at Rivers Casino. It's not luck. This was 4 years or more of controlled spending, monitoring, making difficult choices to get us to where we are right now today. The tax cap is not the indicator of fiscal health or financial responsibility. The Office of the State Controller Fiscal Stress Monitoring System is the primary key indicator of fiscal stress and fiscal irresponsibility. And since 2019, we've had no designation against the Village of Scotia. And this year, our fiscal stress number went from 12.9 to 9.9. Our environmental stress indicator, those are all the things outside of the control of the village that put stress on our municipal budget, decreased from 23.3 to 10. Our environmental stress was cut in half. And a lot of that is due to the fiscal discipline of our department heads and the fiscal discipline of our employees. Even our PERMA premium decrease is a direct result of the fact that our department heads and staff and lieutenants and captains and clerks practice a safe office environment, attending PERMA trainings so that they create a safer workplace. We as a village need to do our part and actually give them a safe space to operate. Because the cost of inaction of not building a municipal facilities project will cost more to the village at the end. We've seen it. Looking at the police department. The police station was built in 1903. Policing has changed dramatically since 1903. 1966, there was an article in the newspaper talking about the inadequacies of our police station. A similar article appeared in a local newspaper in the 1980s. I searched through the box of the municipal facilities paperwork and found a memo from a mayor of Scotia in 1989 that outlined 5 Department of Corrections violations relating not only to officer safety, but to safety of those in custody. In a time of police reform and accountability, we cannot afford to set our officers up to fail by not providing them a safe place to operate, nor can we allow, as a community, those who are in custody to be injured themselves in our facility. Our youth, who sometimes do make poor decisions and find themselves in the custody of the police station, have the right to a room that is suited for juvenile questioning and support. We do not have that. During the 2010s, we actually had a prisoner escape from the window of our police station through the bathroom that they share with our police officers. Thankfully, because of the training and the resilience of our Scotia Police Department, that individual was apprehended without incident. But will we be lucky the next time something like that happens? Because it's still not a safe and secure building for a police department. And it no longer meets what the community needs in 2022. Along those same lines, it's been a busy week, a busy month for our police department. I want to welcome Aaron to the force. I also want to congratulate the Scotia Police Department on continuing to hire leaders. Because in the police world, leadership comes not only just from the top, but also from the new recruits all the way through the sergeants. And he's already showing in training that he can assume the mantle of leadership and is humbled by that mantle of leadership. Chief Harrigan continues to work with sergeants to schedule training. training will focus on field officer training and also in terms of investigations. Because again, our police department, our officers are not only patrol officers, they're also detectives. The PBA took initiative to work with the Scotia Glenville High School student on a service learning oriented project for the New Visions class. Again, furthering the department's mission of engaging in community policing. The department set up a box for her to collect food to donate to local shelters. There is a bid out for a new police vehicle, and it will match the rest of our fleet, providing them with safe tool to be able to carry out their mission. I also have to say it's been great on Mohawk Ave to see our police officers walking the beat. The businesses on the avenue are noticing, and the residents are noticing as well. Along that same lines, we know beat patrolling is a part of the close proximity and community policing model here in the village. And I'm happy to say that the Chief Harrigan has finalized the bid for our community resource officer, and that will continue. And we're hoping to have an update with the hiring and designation of our community resource officer, who will be active not only in our schools, but also in our parks. The police department also received a traffic safety grant from the Governor's Traffic Safety Committee in the amount of $5,440. These initiatives target a variety of driving violations with the hope of reducing motor vehicle accidents, as well as raising awareness for young drivers during the upcoming prom season. I think that's an incredible educational program that we can look forward to. Work is continuing on the Cortico grant application. Again, even grants that we get are not by happenstance, they're by hard work, as well as commitment. I'm also want to thank Chief Harrigan for his leadership on the Traffic Safety Committee. I had the opportunity to attend his first meeting as the new committee person, in the hot seat, if you would. For those of you who don't know, I've been working with 2 5th grade students from Lincoln Elementary School on rethinking and revising our village code to permit skateboarding on village streets. And I'm happy to say that I survived the gauntlet of the Traffic Safety Committee, in which I received some incredible feedback for the law, and I look forward to introducing that law at the May meeting in consideration for public hearing in June, which is perfectly timed because National Skateboard Day occurs later on in the month of June. Also, the police department was able, I want to encourage all village residents to get involved in reporting traffic safety concerns that they have. It's perfectly related to skateboarding and biking, because as we enter the spring season, we're going to have a lot of our children and adults, like myself, on their bikes, wearing their helmets, potentially sharing roads with drivers. So if you have traffic safety concerns, speeding, people not observing traffic control devices on a routine, frequent basis, you can go to the village website and voice your concern by filling out a form. That form goes directly to the email of the police chief and will be referred to the Traffic Safety Committee. My report under the bid is very simple. The bid is looking forward to the walkable season. But I want to encourage the board to take action sooner rather than later on solidifying the use of ARPA funds for small business grants. January and February was for many, especially many of our restaurants and other service sectors, a difficult quarter. And prioritizing the small business grants will allow our businesses to begin planning as they enter into what hopefully will be a successful quarter with nice weather. Zoning Board of Appeals will meet this month to review a case, and that is all I have to report. Thank you for
I have to say something. Trustee Cook, I have to say something. There's bars on the bathroom window now.
There are now, yes, for sure. One other thing, Justin, that this building was built in the late 1920s. The fire station is older, but
That's what I read in that article. Police department was formed.
yeah.
The other thing I wanted to mention to you,
Actually, the fire department is older than the village.
By 150 years, yes.
Yes.
We won't remind the police officers.
the other thing I wanted to mention to you about National Skateboarding Day is that you mentioned that maybe this board will be on skateboards.
I would like to invite this board on National Skateboarding Day to join me at Collins Park. I'm going to try to find our young folks who helped build this law, create this law to teach us how to skateboard. So I encourage and challenge all of you to come. It's been 20 years since I've been on a skateboard. So I might be a little rusty. This would be a judgment-free zone.
Well, I've never been on
All
a
right.
skateboard. so
Neither
this
have
would be
I.
Really interesting if this is gonna be a board.
I'll check on my health
Activity.
insurance to see if it covers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Okay, can we have a motion to approve the departmental report?
I'll make that motion.
I
Okay,
will second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Can we have a motion to make the budget adjustments for the month of March?
I'd like to make a motion to make the budget adjustments for the month of March.
And I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item 23, can we have a motion to pay the bills?
I make a motion that the village pay the bills for the month.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item 24, new business. With permission, can we have a motion to, so that the letter we got today from Gallagher Insurance, can't come up with a name yet because it's new. What had quotes for both perma and compliance. The compliance, if I remember right, was like 127. Maria, the perma is 131, I think. We have a old age credit for being a long-term member of PERMA, which is 6,000, was it? Okay, so that makes the PERMA bid somewhat less than the which that we wouldn't get that if we switched right now. So I would like to have a motion to renew the PERMA contract.
I'd like to make a motion to renew the PERMA contract for the 2022-2023 fiscal year.
And I'll second that motion.
Clerk call the roll.
Trustee Cook,
Yes.
trustee Rizzo.
Yes.
Mayor Gifford.
Yes.
Trustee Brand,
Yes,
trustee Solichak.
Yes.
And I want to just add for village residents to know that some of the PERMA training that has been provided to our departments has been instrumental in making real policy changes at the department level that has helped us be able to get this reduction in our insurance premium.
And hopefully the PERMA won't be disappointed if we look for a cheaper price next year too.
Okay, anybody else have any new business?
I wanted to bring up, after speaking with Chief Wood with regards to the use of ARPA funds, he did send the board a letter at the end of March, March 31st, with regards to possible uses that are needed and requested by the fire department. So I'd like to put that on perhaps the next work session.
We'll talk about it on Monday.
Discuss that.
Can we have a motion to adjourn?
One other new business item I
Oh,
want to
sorry.
put on is in the coming months, I'd like us as a board, as well as involving members of the community and the Scotia Business Improvement District, to begin the process of dreaming, strategizing, thinking about, what is Mohawk Avenue and what do we want to see on Mohawk Avenue? We don't have a lot of vacancy rate, but certainly there is some vacancy that could potentially stimulate new businesses. And working with the bid as well as our partners at Schenectady Metroplex, If we have an idea as a community of the types of businesses and projects we see, we might be able to position ourselves in a way for other small business owners, looking to start a business. We've had a lot of success within the last 2 years with, I've counted at least at minimum 6 new businesses that have opened on the Ave within the last 2 years, and that was during a pandemic. So I'd like to propose that on an upcoming board work session.
Maybe we could do a survey.
Or simply, again, invite village residents to come and participate in a guided, facilitated discussion. I'd be more than happy to help facilitate that.
I know when we were out several years back, bakery was the #1 that we look forward to hearing.
They just
from
opened up
everybody.
a bakery on Union Street too.
All right, can we have a motion to
I'd like
adjourn?
to make a motion to
So be it.
All in favor? Thank you,
Aye.
everybody.
that'll keep me from talking. My comments, well,